Hey there, happy February. Hope you're having a good one. I'm sorry I forgot to do something for Aromantic Awareness Week. Oopsie doodles. I did send out my Valentines. I sent out a thing. So far in the last year, I've started having a physical mailing list, and if you're on that, you hopefully got a Valentine from me, and that's the only thing I've used it for so far. So if that sounds like a thing that you're interested in, a weird platonic Valentine from me, then I recommend signing up. That sounds like my MailChimp is on my website, whatever. Another thing I started on Valentine's Day is that I've started recording these shorts and uploading them to my Knife Bunny account, where I talk about a game that a friend shared with me and a thing I liked about it. These are games that specifically friends have shared with me, so most of them have been forced upon me against my will. I'm mostly kidding now. I'm just happy to play anything with my friends, you know? So, and sometimes these vary from like me being excited about some niche mechanic and using it to springboard into a thing I like to see in design. And other times it's just an exercise of searching for the one thing that I really like about Candyland. Right now there's like 3 things up on there, and then one extra video that explains the context of the series, and just giving some of my favorite games to give a little bit of context. So check out that mini series on my Knife Bunny channel if you're into this sort of thing. I actually have a bunch of pre-recorded ones going out as far as May, so yeah, should be something. Yeah, that's every Wednesday morning that I upload those. And yeah. So before I start talking about the design updates, I had my 3rd annual Knife Bunny game Jam-boree. It was a lot of fun. These are just for vibing and doing a little bit of fun. It's supposed to be like a little celebration, so it's not supposed to be particularly productive. But that said, Beth was on fire and made like 18 meta games to be played alongside your other games, so like things to do in the greater context of the games that you're playing. And it's inspired by the tiebreaker card that Zach put into the bit library. So I thought that was really awesome. Shanti made a game where you are putting cards into a pot, and then you resolve them, and then you assign points depending on what cards were put into the pot. And there's communists and cows and monarchs and spies and clowns, and honestly I'm really impressed because Shanti was like watching kids at the same time and didn't have a full computer to work with, so that is really impressive. It blew me away. As for myself, I kind of waffled a lot on what to make. I was trying to make a library themed game, but I couldn't really quite land on a conflict that was satisfying to me. I thought of like a system, but like without like a deeper conflict to force the players to interact with each other. I really struggled to come up with like something compelling for the system, for the victory conditions, or whatever the motivations for the players. I did start work on something that I'm calling the mind control experiment. It's in a line similar to Divine Right that I'm calling walking simulators but analog, and it's like sort of like a Jumbo Junior thing where the rules direct you to follow this Jumbo Junior thing to read messages and such, but thing is that it's really hard to make because I have to do a lot of smart crosswordy puzzle type things, and I'm not very good at that kind of thing, so who knows when that will be finished. So yeah. But yeah, so in terms of design stuff, it was mostly a lot of development work. A lot of work got done on conviction. One of my real life friends is a book collector, and she was like, this green cover is not very old booky, and she recommended gold or red, and I was worried about it conflicting with the idealist color of orange, but you know, I quite like the yellow look, so I'm happy with that. One of the other things that I did with this game was that I decided to remove the rules off of the folio, not the folio, move the rules off of the hook box and onto a folio. The intention of this was twofold. For one, people were grasping the rules, but they weren't confident that they were grasping the rules, and that led to a lot of play that was like very mechanically driven, like just a lot of focus on following the mechanical output of the rules, and it was requiring so much like energy on the players that they weren't able to engage with it much further than that sometimes. So I wanted the rules to have a bit more space to breathe so people could have more confidence that they're playing correctly. I think I forget that sometimes. Sometimes I have an unguided test and I'm like, they played it correctly. Success, but like, if they're not confident while they're playing it and they're second guessing that they're doing everything right, and like by the time they're done they're like, did we do that right? Then did they really play the game? Were they really engaged? They like, maybe they executed the physical steps correctly, but were they mentally experiencing it? You know what I mean? So I wanted it to give a little bit more space to breathe, more clarifications, a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Reassurance. But another part of it was that I wanted to give a little bit more support to the role-playing aspect, because I've gotten feedback that people have a better experience with this game when they approach it from a role-playing angle, which at first was kind of shocking to me because the game is very mechanically based. Like, it doesn't actually ask you to tell a story, even though it's designed to sort of evoke those kind of feelings, I guess. But that was the feedback I was getting. And also people were craving that role-playing aspect when they were too in the weeds of the mechanics to really enjoy that. So at first I experimented with it with the hook box giving prompts to the player. Like, when you play a card, narrate what you're doing and narrate what the conflict is at all and things like that. But I didn't like how forced this felt. This was like a variant, first of all, but I didn't want players to only see the narrative if they were directed to see it. You know what I mean? I didn't want it to be a forced thing. I wanted it to emerge like organically from play, at the risk of them not seeing it at all. So what I'm experimenting with is having the hook box serve as like a play area to give a bit more context into the different components of the game. Like, what's the difference between the idealist and the stalwart? What is narratively happening with the reject pile? What is the meaning? What is the context of the support deck? And then also a bit more context behind the different phases of the game. Like it's I think most games are like a 3-act structure thing if you think about it. Like, what's happening during the setup, what's narratively happening during the conflict, and the resolution. It still needs to be tested more, because it's sort of brand new and it's hard to test digitally, but yeah, I have a good feeling about it. So in an effort to get this out there, I've updated the print and play on itch.io. So it's got the new play area, it's got the new folio, and the new cover, if that's important to you. And so that's all on my itch.io, optional donation, all that jazz. And that's all ready for unguided testing. In a similar vein, I've also excuse me. I've also updated Bread. I've updated the itch.io with a new print and play for that. And that one is a bit more involved because the previous iteration that was on itch.io was the mint tin version. And so now it's been updated with the mini card version. I kind of already talked about like a lot of the changes in the last vlog. And most of the changes that happened this past month have been very minute, like just language changes in the rules and minor tweaks to like the Yeah, it's really just minor changes to language. And yeah, I got feedback from the cardboard dancing contest about it, and I'm honestly not really planning any changes as a result. I might change the way that I talk about the game, the way I like market it, but like very subtle changes. I'm not. The feedback did not convince me that anything on the core design of the game needed to change, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much all that happened this month. I think. Let me check my notes. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah. Thanks for joining me. See you next month. Bye. Can I be real with you? I don't know if I'm gonna enter any more design contests. At least not ones that have like metrics that are visible. Like, there's something that really like hurts at my like soul and my being to see like my art flattened out into a metric, like on the same in the same way that like pieces of art are flattened to be compared to products that are manufactured for like optimal market and stuff like that. It's not to say that there's no value in those things, but like it hurts my soul in the same way that like I'm trying to not look at scales so much, because I don't want to like descend into disordered eating again and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'm getting a lot of benefit out of submitting to those, because I don't know, I feel like it's more a evaluation of your pitch, and I don't know how valuable that is. I feel like the way most people are going to hear about my games are word of mouth, and I don't know if I'm going to get that from like a... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's worth the sort of like soul damage that I take when I enter those things, you know what I mean? I hope I'm making sense. No shade on those contests. I think that they put a lot of effort into it, and it clearly means a lot to them, you know what I mean?